Hey guys, Novacast here. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to win more solos games. So this is more of an end game type of strategy, seeing that I've already cleared out retail row, but in this video I'll be going over tips and tricks end game that will actually help you close out and win solo games. So this series is kind of going to be like what Cypher does. I have made an in-depth tutorial video on tips just generally for solos. But these videos, I'm going to be start doing series, kind of like what Cypher does, as I said before, where I actually take games that I've played and won and do a post commentary on them and explain to you what was going through my head. So a lot of top tier streamers say the best way to get better is to watch top tier streamers play. And I'm a pretty good console player. I've had hundreds of wins. So what I'm going to be doing is taking it a step farther and actually like relaying you real time what I'm thinking in these situations, so you don't actually have to watch me play. Well, obviously you're gonna be watching me play, but you can also know exactly what's going through my head at the exact time of me getting into engagements and things like that. So you guys just are in the loop, and you guys can actually try and imitate what I do into your gameplay and get you guys some wins. So yeah, hopefully this will be awesome. If you guys really like this series, I'll be doing a lot more of these because they're basically just reviews of solo games, seeing that every solo game is different, and you can always learn from different games, seeing that every game is different, every game will bring up a different strategy, and you can always learn something new. So that's what's going to be awesome about this series. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into some quick tips. So this is pretty much endgame. This is one of the end circles. Only 17 players left, not that many left. And one of the biggest things I can say endgame is grab the high ground in the circle. Another quick little thing I want to premise here is I'm not actually carrying a bolt. I'm carrying a scoped AR, and I think the meta is going to start shifting towards the scoped AR. If you guys have heard of FaZe Tfue, he actually uses a scoped AR, and it's very OP, and I think players should start using this more, seeing that it gives you more kills than the bolt actually can, especially for console. You are able to get a lot more kills if you have the scoped AR. Again, I love the bolt. The bolt's such a cool weapon to use, but in terms of effectiveness, if you're going for kills, I recommend you guys start using the scoped AR, seeing that you can actually shoot multiple times. There's no delay between shots, and it does a fairly good amount of damage if your shot's good. So if you guys have faith in your shot, I highly recommend that you actually start using the scoped AR. And I actually want to run back this fight real quick and talk about it again. So right here, I actually eliminate the guy with the scoped AR, which I was talking about before, but I realized here that he was fighting someone else, seeing that I pushed him and I was hearing gunshots, and there was no one in the kill feed, so I knew he would probably be in the area. So what I did was I got high ground. You guys have to start getting high ground and not actually challenge people head on. You want to be above them when you're challenging them. And if you do drop down, you want to be ready to build immediately and just keep the high ground above them 24/7. Right here, I was always above the guy except for the moment where I dropped down, but I built right back up, got the high ground on him, and he had no idea where I was, so I was able to clean him up fairly easily. So you guys have to start grabbing high ground. That's a very, very valid strategy. I know a lot of you guys will already know to grab the high ground, but like you just have to drill it in your head that in every single situation, not just in situations where you see people, situations where you anticipate people will be there, you also want to be grabbing the high ground. So yeah, that's a very, very effective strategy, and yeah, you guys should start doing that. So right here, the circle has gotten even smaller. There's 11 people left. I have a decent amount of kills, cleared out 2 people there, and now what I'm doing is I'm rotating towards high ground. So I know that the circle will be closing towards this general area, and I see that high ground is directly in front of me on this giant mountain. This is probably the highest ground in the entire vicinity that the circle is in. And the thing is, I don't want to get too far away from the circle. So I'm just grabbing high ground near the edge of the circle because I know people will be rotating into the new circle. So right here, just taking high ground and scoping out people. I have the scoped AR, so I know I can find people. So after I tag this guy up, I actually hear someone directly underneath me, and instead of dropping down, again, I keep the high ground and I shoot an anticipation rocket. Once I get the hit markers on him, I drop down a little bit, but still keep the high ground. When I hit him with my tack, I push him even more. This is a point where I'm just going to be very aggressive in pushing him because he's going to be panicking, and the best thing to do in this situation is not to keep the high ground, but just push him, seeing that he has such low health. Right here, if you notice, I actually boxed myself inside the little area that he was at, seeing that it was a very bad position before I looted him. And that was a very smart play, seeing that someone pushed me directly after I did that. So right here, I just spammed my wall, edited out, and then threw down walls immediately so this guy who was trapped me in the box couldn't actually get to me. Right here, I did something very smart, and I actually want to go over it, but first we're going to let this fight run out, and I actually got away from him, as you could see, gave myself high ground, and basically just tried to buy out of this fight because I wasn't in a good position, and I did exactly that. So now I'm going to roll back the clip a little bit to exactly where he was and talk about how I actually got out of that situation, seeing that he jumped right on top of me. So we're back in the position down here, actually in the box. This isn't a great position, but again, I boxed myself in just in case anything happened. So this guy's actually shooting the wall. He actually pushed me, so I started spamming walls because I knew he wouldn't be able to kill me if I did this. When he started reloading is when I actually edited the wall to leave and give myself a better position, and I built immediately, and I got myself out of that situation. Now he actually got in the same vicinity as me, so I put a platform and then a ramp piece to actually get above him. So that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. If someone is in the same box as you, so you can actually place a wall between you and him, what you guys want to do is start actually placing a ramp piece, so he actually gets caught in the area of the ramp that is a little bit of a gap. So you get yourself above him and get the high ground on top of them. So if anyone's actually pushing you and they're in the same box as you and you can't place a wall above them, what you guys want to start doing is actually putting a ramp piece down so you can get the high ground on them and build above that way. So this is very effective in getting away from situations where someone's actually trying to push you with a tack shotty or shotty and you can't actually build between them. You know, start putting a ramp piece down. Keep that in mind. So now we're going to roll back the clip. So right here, as soon as I got the high ground, basically what I did was I just waited for him to make a move, and I reacted accordingly. I put shots on him while he was trying to build up, and what I did was I just realized that I could shoot down the piece that he was on, seeing that it was just supported by one piece, and I actually got the kill from fall damage, which was very effective. So that's, you just have to think what the best thing to do in every situation is and do that. Right here, I'm just trying to get some picks from far away, seeing that I saw a pretty massive fight going on over there. And I just whipped out my scope there. This is where I say the scope's very effective, seeing that if you have the bolt, you have to time a perfect shot instead of just spamming shots. If you have the bolt, you have the liberty to just spam shots and try to get a kill, and I got one there, which is why I do like the scope AR more than the bolt currently in solos specifically, seeing that you can actually get a lot of free kills just by spamming people. Again, in squads and duos, you would just down them, so it's not as effective. But in solos, I highly recommend using the bolt because you can actually get very easy picks from far ranges. Again, Face Tfue uses the bolt, and he's a very, very good player if you guys know who he is. So right here, I'm pushing a fight. I see the guy lay a couple shots, but then decide to build because he had the high ground. So I'm just spamming building up, and now I have to meet him in the sky and build over to his base, and I did exactly that and got over to his base. So I basically very aggressively pushed over to his base before he could react, and it worked out pretty effectively. The problem here was that the circle was coming in. So I versed high ground, shredded up. I actually placed a wall down, but the wall did not place, and he shot me through it. That's the only reason why I took damage there. I'll actually play it back to show you exactly where I placed the wall, and it didn't register. So if we look back right here, I'm going to pause it exactly where I actually placed the wall down, and it did not register. So he's shooting me. I put a roof on my head so he can't get above me. I reverse high ground. And right here, boom, boom, I placed a wall. I have auto place on. I placed the wall right there. It didn't register my placement. I guess I was moving too fast, or maybe I didn't wait on the spot long enough, but I definitely meant to place a wall there. Whenever you're reverse ramping up, you want to place 2 walls, not 1. That's the only reason why he actually got a shot off on me, and it put me in a very bad situation. But I was able to react accordingly because I just boxed the wall off and got high ground on top of this guy and reacted accordingly. Again, everything is situational. You have to react according to the situation. And again, by watching good players, you will learn to do what they do and start reacting to situations according to what they do, and then you'll be able to replicate that in the situations you're in, and you'll be able to deduct what to do. So yeah, let's go back into this. So I build on top of him, do the exact same thing I talked about earlier with the ramp and get on top of him. Again, the circle's coming in, so I have to worry about that. I just push up, get high ground. That was a bit of a choke on my part right there, but then got high ground back immediately. Right here, I realized that the rocket launchers are very OP in solos. You can abuse them. And that was the only thing that actually saved me in this situation right here, is that I had an RPG. And you guys have to realize that not a lot of people will realize in high panic situations that they have a certain weapon. You guys have to always just keep cool and see what weapons you have in your disposal to actually utilize in certain situations. So I wasn't thinking initially to the initial part of that fight that I had an RPG, but then towards the end I was like, I have one. This is my free card out. This is how I'm going to survive this. And that's exactly how I ended up surviving. I abused the RPG, and that's exactly what I needed to do in that situation. That's what actually got me out of that situation, that very bad situation right there. Also, my building was very good. if you guys want to learn how to build, I do have a building tips video, multiple building tips videos. I'll link a few of them in the description if you guys want to check them out. And yeah, right here, just looking at the circle, I realized I need to be in it. I heard some gunshots and saw someone. Again, this is where the scoped AR comes in handy. It's very, very effective with the scoped AR, especially in endgame situations, seeing that the bolt is not very much of an endgame type of gun. It's kind of an early game to mid game type of gun. So right here, I saw someone actually shoot a rocket or something from high ground. So I took the high ground, seeing that I knew someone would be over there. Right here, I realized there's only 2 people left, and I'm just shooting at them. What I don't realize actually is I think that there's 3 people left, seeing that there was 2. Seeing I looked up, looked at the kill feed, and it said 3. I didn't realize that I was one of these people. This is one of the mistakes I made in this game, but it didn't really matter in the long run. Again, I was just trying to get a pick right there with the scoped AR, and I'm putting pressure on this guy. So if I realized that it was just me and him left, I would have just gotten high ground on him, which I did anyway, seeing that it's a good thing to do. But I could have put pressure on him in a different way. I could have laid back a little bit, seeing that he was panicking. But what I'm doing right here is absolutely fine. As long as you get the high ground on anyone, you should be good. Again, I'm abusing all the weapons I have. The rocket launcher is very good in this situation, seeing that there's a lot of buildings, and I want to take down the buildings and actually expose this guy. So I hit him right there, got hit markers on him. Right here, just trying to build up. He actually gets, he builds up to me, which is good play on his part. But then I build up accordingly, seeing that he built up, got high ground again, and then I just pop a med kit, seeing that he did get me very low on health. So that was kind of a choke on my part, but I thought I was going to kill him there with that rocket. And that rocket actually blew up my mats, which I didn't think would happen. So my own rocket damaged him, but it also knocked down my structure. But I think it was still the good play in that situation, seeing that I couldn't have known that it would have knocked down my structure, seeing that there's a lot of structures near around. Like right there again, my structure got knocked down, but there's so many chaotic structures nearby that I didn't actually realize that me shooting that one platform down would actually knock down my structure. This guy's building up, so again, what you want to do in these situations is just build higher. That's the best thing to do. I had a rocket launcher, so I was just trying to get it to reload because I knew I could abuse this. And I just shot it, and he actually ended up trying to avoid my rocket launcher and jumping off the high ground and killing himself. So I ended up winning this game. So I know that was a lot of chaos. This video was super hectic, super chaotic. I'm going to pause it. You can look at the stats right there. And it was all over the place, seeing that I had to relay information to you real time. I did my best in explaining on what went on. Hopefully you guys learned something from this. Hopefully you guys can implement it into your gameplay. I know it was chaotic, but I will be doing a lot more of these, and if you guys want to know what happened, you can always rewind the video and play it back and try to understand what I was trying to say. And again, I will be covering a lot more stuff like this in future solo wins. I will be going over specific things. Again, this was more of endgame type of strategies and endgame situations and what you should do in endgame. But I will be going over early game and things like that. So if you guys enjoyed this, be sure to subscribe, because I'm going to be doing a lot more of these type of videos, and I give a lot of tips. So why not subscribe? It's free. Help me out, and then I'll help you out. There's no point of not subscribing. And yeah, if you like these type of videos, be sure to drop a big like on it, because it will show me that I should make more of these for you guys. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Peace out, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.